Hello. And you might be wondering, what is this video about? Well, I've been hearing around the interwebs, the intertubes of the internets. I've been hearing a little bit of chatter since the announcement of Nintendo's NX platform. Or I shouldn't say announcement, just Iwata just casually backhand just dropped the name, the code name, and then just walked away like he dropped a mic and just walked off stage. I've already talked about the NX, so I'm not going to get into that. What I'm here to talk about is some of the stupid shit people have been saying about the NX, like Nintendo should be doing with the NX. So without further ado, I will be debunking a few of these things that people have been saying, namely 3, after the cut. So, as the title placard says, this is debunk number 1. The NX will be Nintendo's next console! Okay. First of all, 2016 will be next year. That'll be roughly, I want to say, almost at that point, the Wii U will be 3.5 years old. Nintendo is not going to announce their next console 3.5 years into the existence of their last console. That's some Sega shit right there. And Nintendo, no matter how much people might say this, Nintendo is oblivious about a lot of shit. They don't give a fuck about voice chat, really, unless it's absolutely integral to the game. They don't give a fuck about other things, but they aren't stupid, okay? If you think Nintendo is stupid, you don't know the company, okay? A company doesn't get to be over 130 and almost, let's say, over 125 years old, and they don't know shit. That's stupid, okay? A company doesn't last that long being run by idiots. It doesn't. So get that out of your head. The NX will more than likely not be Nintendo's next console, home console. Now, traditionally, Nintendo announces their next handheld 3 years into their home console's life cycle. So 3 years into the NES, they announced the Game Boy. 3 years into the SNES, they announced the Game Boy Color. 3 years into 3-4 years into the SNES, Game Boy Color. 3 years into the N64, Game Boy Advance. 3 years into the GameCube, DS. 3 years into the Wii, 3DS. 3 years into the Wii U, probably their next handheld. That's just how they roll. Okay? So get that shit out of your fucking head. Okay? The NX will probably not be their next console because Nintendo's not going to torpedo their fucking current home console. They're not that fucking stupid. Stop saying, well, they need to do this. Shut the fuck up. Okay? First of all, you don't have any evidence that says it's a home console. Second of all, the only evidence that we can go on is past observation. Past observation says, since Nintendo has never done that before, it's probably, and the only thing the dude said was, it's gonna be a dedicated gaming device. Well, let's see. Nintendo, 3 years into their home console, has always introduced their next handheld. Like clockwork. What's coming up next year? 3 years into the Wii U's life cycle, 3.5. So it's about time for the next handheld to be announced. So that's been debunked. Okay then, after the last debunk, let's talk about the next rumor going around, opinion, idea being floated around this gaming community in the gamosphere. Well, the NX, Nintendo needs to secure third-party support. Let me put it this way. By any means necessary, by making a more powerful console, by having more features. Let me tell you something, okay? Nintendo could literally have a console that has 16 cores, runs AMD's most powerful, affordable chipset, have every feature one for one with a PC in terms of voice chat and everything like that. Third parties would still be hesitant to put their games on the system. You want to know why? Because a Nintendo console that gets the best of third-party games and already has the best of first-party games would destroy Sony and Microsoft. It would destroy Sony and Microsoft. It would just destroy them because there'd be no reason to purchase those consoles. Third parties don't want that. They don't want to close all the other markets. They want the competition between the different console manufacturers. They thrive off that shit. They need it. Okay? They do not want... It would be... Let me put it this way, okay? If third parties were a physical person, they would rather slit their throat, have their body be covered with open sores, be splashed with salt water and rubbing alcohol, and be lit on fire while projectile shitting bloody diarrhea than see a Nintendo console that had great third-party support and already has had the great first-party support that Nintendo's going to have. They aren't going to do that. Nintendo could do everything it wants. It's not going to happen. You understand me? It's not going to happen. Get it out of your fucking heads. If people think, well, you know, if Nintendo does this, it's not going to matter. Third parties don't want it. We've seen in the past, Nintendo had a very powerful console. The GameCube was the perfect choice for having a powerful console. It used the medium of the day, albeit in a slightly non-standard format, but it was relatively easy to transfer it over. Okay? It had access to features that were on the other consoles. Now people will say, well, the Xbox had a modem and you could use the internet. The Wii had the GameCube had a modem attachment. It did. It did. The GameCube had a modem attachment. A lot of games didn't use it. A lot of games didn't use modems back then. Only games on Xbox because, and those games that used it were heavily pushed by Microsoft. Microsoft paid money to have those features utilized by developers. Generally speaking, they were not used in most of the games on those systems. So, I mean, the GameCube had everything you could want, okay, except for a hard drive. But other than that, it had everything you could want. Third parties still really didn't heavily support the system. Why? Because it would be their worst fucking nightmare to have a console that had awesomely powerful first party IP, great second and third party IP. It would have shit on all the other consoles. Third parties don't want that. Third parties do not want another time when Nintendo has the industry by the balls. Okay? They don't want that. Like I said, they would rather kill themselves first. So get that shit out of your head. You want third-party games? Don't expect a lot of them on Nintendo consoles from now on. Okay? You understand me? And I know what some people are going to say. Well, it's the Wii U sales. The Wii had sales that it outsold both the Xbox One and the PS3. At one point, it was outselling the Xbox 360 and the PS3. At one point, it was outselling the Xbox 360 and the PS3 at a 3-to-1 ratio. For every one of those consoles sold, there were 3 Wii's being sold. Sales don't mean shit to third parties. They don't give a fuck. The PS3 struggled for its first 2 years. Third parties still put games on that fucking system. The Xbox is hemorrhaging money. It's literally like someone is shitting their intestines out of their asshole. And third parties are still putting games on that system. Please don't fucking tell me that it's about sales. It's not about sales. It is not about sales. Okay? Third parties don't want that shit to happen. Okay? They will do everything in their power to make sure it won't happen. Okay? You want third party games? Get a third party console. Get an Xbox One or a PS4 or get an Xbox 360 or a PS3 or get a PC. That's your best bet. Then you don't have to deal with Microsoft except with OSs and DirectX, and you don't have any of your money going to Sony. That's what I did. Get that shit out of your head. It ain't gonna happen. Enough. On to the next debunk after the cut. This last debunk, as the placard says, is Nintendo needs third-party support. Okay then. Let me put it to you like this. Nintendo needs third-party support, but Nintendo needs good third-party support. It doesn't need half-ass bullshit, lackadaisical third-party support. Doesn't need that. Nintendo needs people who want to work with them, who genuinely want to work with them. If you want to see the ideal relationship between a first-party and a third-party company, see how Nintendo interacts with indies. You see that? You see that relationship? You see how Nintendo's eShop is basically a microcosm of free market enterprise, with controls in place to keep things as even as possible. Basically, the market decides what does well. If a game doesn't sell well on the eShop, more often than not, it's a game that didn't really appeal to that market. It's not because the game was buried by people. It's not because the game was buried by the bigger titles, or because a third party paid out a little bit of extra scratch to get their stuff put front and center, okay, over some little 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 person studio that put their heart and soul into their game. It's a good game, but they just don't have, $100, $200, $300, $400,000 to give Sony or Microsoft to say, hey, could you put our game further up? Okay, they don't have that type of money. Okay, now the eShop is a perfect example of a free market economy with restrictions to make things even. Every indie is seen as equal. Your $2.99 games all the way up to your $19.99 games. Okay, if it's an indie, they're all equal. They all get equal billing or a chance for equal billing. Now, if a game is selling like a lot, it goes up further, or if it's brand new, it gets put a little bit more prominently than older titles. But that's just how things are. The newer stuff gets put up front, the older stuff gets pushed in the back. Sorry, that's just how the market works sometimes. But generally speaking, it's relatively free. There's no market manipulation in order to make one thing more attractive than the other. Okay? Now, people are going to say, well, Nintendo's games seem to be at the top of the charts almost all the time, except for when something new comes out that's like particularly hyped up and then something goes down. Well, I mean, these are, Nintendo themselves have established franchises. Most games out now don't have 30 plus years. Like this year is Mario's 30th anniversary. Next year will be Link's 30th anniversary. Not that many gaming franchises on consoles have that long of a history, okay? I know everyone's like, oh, I love Master Chief. It's a little over 15 years old, I think. I think it's less than 15 years old, okay? Shit, God of War is only, I want to say 10 years old. Maybe a little bit over 10 years, maybe 10, 11 years, okay? That's impressive. That is impressive. Doesn't lay a dent on 30. Doesn't even look. 30 shits all over 12. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? So, I mean, and people are saying, well, Nintendo needs established third parties like Activision, Squeenix, Ubisoft, EA. You know what? Fuck those companies. Fuck them. Look, some people have this odd thing that Nintendo consoles and Nintendo gamers should be honored to have shitty half-ass ports from last gen put on Nintendo consoles, or even in previous gens, shitty half-ass ports put onto a Nintendo system, or half-baked ideas tested out on Nintendo on the Nintendo consumer base. Fuck that shit. No. You got it twisted. Flip that script. Flip it, reverse it, put your thing down, flip it and reverse it. You need to look at this from the other thing, okay? If you're at a charity boxing match and you get in the ring with Muhammad Ali, you should be fucking honored you're in the ring with Muhammad Ali. It's not like, oh, they should be honored they're in the ring with me. Fuck you. You don't have the legacy this man has. Fuck you and the horse you rode in on, okay? You should be proud to be in the ring with this son of a bitch. If you were a contemporary for Ernest Hemingway or Mark Twain or Edgar Allan Poe, you should be honored to be put with those literary giants as an afterthought. Because, I mean, they came before you. They blazed the path for your ass, and their work still holds up today. So if you are put with them, wow, you wrote an American novel, that puts you up in the ranks with Mark Twain, you should be proud. Don't you dare think that your shit supersedes Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's court, or Huck Finn or Mark Twain. Fuck you. Nintendo needs third-party support. Fuck third parties. Fuck them. Fuck them. Just fuck them. Fuck EA. Fuck Square Enix. Fuck Ubisoft. Fuck Activision. All the big third parties who have their heads up their ass, including Namco Bandai, they can go suck a dick too. Fuck you guys. You don't want to put games on the console? Okay, alright. Nintendo is right now creating their own ecosystem. They're reaching down and watering and weeding the garden filled with indies. And in the next 5-10 years, those fuckers are going to be the next mid-tier, third and second tier indie third parties. And they're gonna know how to keep their games under budget. They're gonna know who helped them out when they were struggling, and they're gonna know who they can put their games, whose systems they can put their games on, and they'll make a profit. The rest of you big motherfuckers that think, oh, we're too good for Nintendo, fuck you and your mama too. So, with that, I'm done debunking 3 myths that exist within this gamosphere in terms of third-party support and Nintendo's NX. Please stay tuned for upcoming events after the cut. Hello, I'm back, and this is just upcoming events. This Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. sharp. I will be doing another installment of Bullshit Busters. This one will be a little bit special because we'll be taking your questions live. So everyone who's watching this episode, just use the Google question app. Leave a question. If you're not going to be watching live, but you still have a question you want to ask and have the panel or myself answer, you can use this link here to leave a question at my YouTube inbox, and I will also get to those as well. Don't be hesitant. Just try to keep them pertinent to gaming or pop culture. You can ask semi-personal questions if you want to, but nothing, like I said, vulgar. Okay. So now that I've said that, you've seen me. This is my first rant video of this year. Actual rant where I was literally, legitimately upset. I normally don't get upset about things like this, but this was really irking me. So, without that being said, I bid you adieu.